Hey, hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today I'm going to show you how you can start using apeMatrix. I'd just like to say hi to Thomas, hi Ivan, hi Wall, hello Joe, hi Stephen, hi Sam, and anyone else who might be watching. So in a sec we're going to start a brand new fresh project, and I will take you through various things you can do with apeMatrix. It's very cool. It can be a little bit confusing at first, so this is why hopefully this will help you. But just to start us off, I got some stuff going on here, and also on the second matrix. I will explain all this in a sec. On the second matrix here, you'll see I'm playing this swam trumpet here with my MIDI keyboard, and there's an altether attached to the swam trumpet. Okay, so let's just do this little session thing for fun. Okay, so that's the cool stuff you can do. It doesn't take too long to set up once you've got yourself your head around how apeMatrix works. Okay, so we'll tap on this here and we will initialize this preset. Now it's not going to take away our preset, it's just going to initialize it and gives a blank one. So we can save the current session, we can save preset, we can overwrite the preset and it'll go yes, and it's just overwritten it again, so it's fine. If we go into our preset browser, open presets here, you'll just see it's still there, relive through stories. Okay, so what we're going to do is just go with an init and yes, and this will give us a blank project to start. Okay, and I can start to explain how this works. So along the left hand column here, these are your inputs, and along the top are your outputs. You can output this to AUM or you can output it to Cubasis, so you can record the sessions that you're working on. It's pretty straightforward. If I have time, I'll show you how to do that, but it really is quite simple, and I do have another video on it how to explain that. Right, so it has three matrices. Okay, they work exactly the same as each other, so it's not like it's a different track. If I put stuff in this matrix and then if I fill that matrix up, for example, which I nearly did in the last one, I can move on to this one and start adding stuff in here, and it will be the same. It will play what's in here as well as what's in there, so you're good to go there. Down the bottom here, if you see this little these little icons here, these are to do with your tempo. So you'll see at the moment there is Ableton Link is switched on, Sync Start Stop is switched on. So if you're running this in AUM into app audio, you can stop and start apeMatrix with AUM's transport. And then next to that is your metronome here. So what will happen is we'll turn the metronome level down a little bit. If I switch this on, the metronome will just constantly run until you turn it off, which is handy. Hi Kev, which is handy, you know, for when you're starting to put stuff in and things like that. So that's okay. Let's turn it off for now because we don't need it at the moment, and we can move this around the screen. Moving further along here, you have this switch here, which kind of, I'm not really sure what it does, but it puts everything into a line here. I never use that. Then this is the master and post processing for each of the 3 matrices. And then you can also add effects as well, like so compressors, limiters, etc. You know, stuff like that. And close. Then you have the onboard keyboard, which we'll get to that in a sec. And then you have, I think this is like a MIDI panic. Then at the top here, you see we're using 1% CPU. I've got 81% left on my battery. This is your transport. This is where you load your presets. And here is where you can customize. You have settings. You can change the color, etc. Do all sorts of other cool stuff. Just how you want your system set up and running. It's not really necessary in a basic tutorial to go through all that stuff, because that might be something you might want to check out in the future. So to add an instrument in, I'm going to tap on this little plus button here, and it will take me to my list of all my audio units. And you can use Interapp as well. We'll stick with audio units. And we've got all effects, MIDI effects, instruments. We'll stick with instruments, and we'll start with an instrument. And I've been messing around with iSymphonic since it's just had an update. So you can either search, so you can put iSymphonic in there, or you can just use the alphabet here, and you can have favorites as well, which is quite handy. So iSymphonic, there it is. It's come up under I, so we'll just tap on that. And then you get some options. So connects, show, or connects and show. So you could just show the instrument like this, and there it is. Or we could go, let's go, we haven't connected it. Okay, so I'm going to connect it manually. You can connect it manually by doing that, and it's now connected to the output. But even if I play my little Arturia, you aren't going to hear nothing. If I use the internal keyboard, however, it looks like you're still not going to hear anything. Brilliant. I just need to check my MIDI connection. Right. To get sound in and out of apeMatrix, you need to use the MIDI patch bay as well. So you will see that the keyboard here, this little keyboard underneath the MIDI port thing, that represents the internal keyboard. So if I press this, I don't know, I have no idea why I'm not getting any sound. So we're off to a good start here, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Let's see what's going on. Should be coming out. I'm going to just hold this and remove. I'm going to do this again, iSymphonic, and I'm going to go connects, and it's lit up now, so that's okay. So that's probably the best way. Also, you need to put power on for, oh yeah, right, of course, Sam, you have to switch power on for the lane. Flipping stupid idiot. That's because I just did the show thing as well. So the lanes need to have power, which is a good way to do mutes and stuff like that, you know, ding. Now, if we go with the little keyboard, you'll hear this, but I wanted to play with my MIDI controller. So we'll go to this one here, which is the matrix for the patches. And this here, the little 5-pinned in MIDI symbol, this represents your MIDI controller. So you just tap on that there. And I'm playing this now. Okay. And then we can take away the connection between the on-screen keyboard because we don't really need it. So we can close that now, and we can go in and choose a sound. So let's, we can use this one, it's probably easier. So something. Oh, here we go. It's just loading. So let's see, full strings. Give it a chance to load the preset. There we go. Or horns and strings. Okay, that's fine. So now we've got a connection, and let's say we want to put some reverb on. So we want to make a connection between the iSymphonic and we want to put an effect on it. Well, all we need to do is put an effect on it is drop an effect into any one of these slots here. We'll go to FX because it's just easier, and we will use let's use FAC chorus. And we'll hit connects this time, so it switches the lane on the FACs in as well. And then we need to send FAC chorus here from the output. So we want to send iSymphonic through FAC chorus, and to do that all we do is make the connection in the matrix like this. And we can turn the level of the chorus up and down. Or we can then go in and change the preset. We can double tap to make it full screen. Not much point in FAC chorus to do that, but and let's add another effect as well. Let's add a reverb, shall we? So let's add connect that one. And again, we need to do the same thing. We want to send EOS to iSymphonic, and now you hear that we've got, and then we can control the volume of that with this or this. So now we've got some effects on. Let's add a drum machine. Let's add Hammerhead, because I've been having a lot of fun with Hammerhead. So again, we just go to all. We can go to H and Hammerhead, and we can go connect. Now if we don't want any effects on Hammerhead, that's absolutely fine. All we need to do is press play on the transport here, go into Hammerhead and select the preset. Like factory, we could go with the, I don't know, this one. And then just control the volume with this. Or the mixer. So you have a mixer as well. I'm just going to have a look at a few of the presets. And because my keyboard is connected, I can play along. So we could record this. But before we start going too far, let's just save the preset as session 2 for now. and we can go just save, and that's done, and it'll name it up the top for us there. So okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to record my strings, and I want to record them via MIDI. I could use like Enzo and record the audio, but I'll use atem. I'm going to open an atem here, so add new. Go to MIDI and go to the top there and choose atem piano roll, and I'm just going to hit connects. I don't need to see it just for a sec. So if we open our MIDI connections now, okay, we can see that atem is there, and we want atem to be really connected to we want atem, when atem has MIDI, we want it to play iSymphonic, so we want to do this. But we also want our MIDI keyboard to play the notes into atem, unless you want to put them in by hand, which is absolutely fine, you can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect the MIDI keyboard here to atem, and now we still hear it, but I can disconnect my MIDI controller from iSymphonic and still hear it, because now the MIDI keyboard is basically playing atem, and atem is the MIDI source for iSymphonic. So then we can go into atem, and then we can make adjustments to atem however we wish. Well, I'm going to have this set on 4 bars like that, and then it's just as simple as using atem in anything else. You just arm record like this, very simples, and then you just press play. You don't need the metronome on now, because we've got like the drums. And now we've recorded our MIDI into atem. Now it was a bit sloppy, his notes here and there. We can obviously go in and fix those if we want to, so, but I don't think we need to. Disarm record, close. So there you go, we've made our MIDI connections. It's really, you just need to think about how the matrix works to connect the stuff up. Now, if you were using something like Riffer, you can use these here to, like in AUM, you can use these to like take away all the channels, or just have one channel. So for instance, in Riffer, you've got like your 4 Riffer lanes. Then you can use this page here to route various MIDI from various instruments into, so you have all the instruments that are available to route MIDI to here, indicated at the bottom of the screen. And then you can also do splits and things like this. So if we close that screen now, and we can add another instrument, we can add a new instrument. Let's add, I don't know, anything will do, something to give me some bass. I'll go to instrument. Here, we could try, let's try alpha. I'm just going to go with connects and go to my MIDI and just make sure that alpha is being played by my MIDI keyboard. We can stop that now. Now we don't need the MIDI keyboard playing. We don't need the MIDI keyboard playing atem now, so we can switch that off, because atem has MIDI data inside it, so it's going to automatically just play. It's just automatically going to play iSymphonic for us. So So this is, close this while we choose a sound. We just want some bass. So let's just go with, let's go with templates. Is there some bass templates? Is that something? I don't know. I just want a basic, oh, what's this? Okay, now we can add some effects to this as well. And but you see, it doesn't matter where you put this stuff. Your connections are made via the matrix, so it's not like you have to have an effect underneath another effect sort of thing. So hang on. So again, let's connect up a MIDI. Let's connect up an Atom piano roll. Let's just make sure it's connected. Let's go to our matrix now, and now we want to make sure that where are we now? Our Atom here is connected to our thing, but also we can disconnect the actual MIDI controller from Bliss and route it through to Atom. So exactly the same as before. Basically Atom is gonna be routing its MIDI for Bliss Alpha, but we can play it now through Atom. See? So now what we need to do is go to this Atom and add another couple of bars here. You can double tap, it's like AUM. It's very similar to AUM when you start to work with apeMatrix. I suppose it's some people like AUM, some people like apeMatrix, etc. So let's just see what I'm playing here. Okay, so what's happened there is Atom has crashed. Okay, not a great deal I can do now except start again. Do you know what I mean? So let's run with an existing project. Sorry about that, folks, but there's nothing I can do about things crashing. And now it's caused hung notes inside. I mean, this could happen in anything, you know. There you go. Anyway, I'm gonna open another preset. So I'm not opening this one because this has also some atoms in it and things like this, and you can kind of see the same kind of thing going on. I'm not really sure. So I think just instead of doing that, I will start, although I could do, I could show you how to route this through into excuse me, something like AUM. So, right, I was gonna have a swig, but sorry about the crash. I can't, you know, Atom crashed. But you were getting the idea. This is kind of how you route stuff, but I will go through it again as well. If you want a session that you've got going on inside of apeMatrix, if you want to record that into something, or if you want to place this into AUM and then expand on something else, you do it like this. There are two, there are an A and B. These outputs, it's not separate outputs or anything like that. So what it means is if I route everything through here, it's here, it's making noise sort of thing. It's all going to go, it's all still going to be in stereo, but you can split them up a bit if you want to. So for instance, we could have this iSymphonic in that there, or we could have Hammerhead in B like this, you know, so you can do interesting things with it that way. Let's just hold this, and what we can also do is, because we're routing audio through A and B, we're not really going to need it coming through the output of apeMatrix as well, so we can actually just switch those off like that, and it's still going to come through A and B. Now you're not going to hear it now because it's not going anywhere yet. So what we're going to do is just open AUM, and I'm just going to open two because I've got two apeMatrix. And apeMatrix is interap, so interap audio, apeMatrix, apeMatrix bus A, and also we can go apeMatrix bus B, and make sure we turn the volume down a lot. And now seriously, I think because apeMatrix is linked now, it will just play. But you can see they're quite loud, so we need to go back into apeMatrix and adjust our levels. So let's clear that. Let's go back into, so that's how you route it into AUM. Let's do a new session. So initialize this session, yes. So we start with something new, and I will go through some things again so they're a little bit clearer. Who's here? Oh, hi Russ. Audible. I think I've said hi to Wall. Arudnik. Sam. Right, okay. Let's do this. Let's run. Let's put in, say, oh yeah, let's do the riffer thing so I can explain that to you. So we need some instruments now. So let's go with instruments, and go down to let's do a Sunriser. So let's connect a Sunriser, and what I'm going to do, just to, I know this Sunriser sound is you know, the default one, so that's okay, that'll do. We'll add another instrument now. We'll add some Synthmaster 2, connect, and it'll switch it on for us. Make sure it's connected. If you got what I was getting at the beginning, do what Sam said and make sure your thing is switched on. And then we're going to add another one as well. We shall add a Tal Uno LX, connect, and also we'll do the OBXD thing so we can find it. OBXD here like this, connects. If we go into our MIDI Matrix now, you'll see that all of these are going to be, if I switch all the internal keyboard off, if I run, here's Here is. So there's the sound from. That's the tal. We can leave that on its default. And there is. So we don't want that for this. We need to choose a sound that's not a sequence. Doesn't really matter what it is. Let's go with some like the brass sound, I suppose. Okay, and like I said, absolutely fine with the initial patch in Sunriser. So we can close this now. We don't even need to be worrying really about our MIDI connections at all here. I'm going to add a riffer, so we want to go with MIDI, I think, and our oops, it was okay, so I just connected the wrong one, so remove. I'm going to go with the riffer, audio modern, right? Okay, connects. We can go into our matrix now, and here is what we've got going on. So we don't need to worry about that. We don't need, what we want to be doing is setting up our connections for riffer to play these instruments. However, because riffer uses MIDI splits over its 4 tracks, you see, let's just size this, R1, R2, R3 and R4, we can route apeMatrix exactly the same but through riffer. So if we close this like this, we've got here, we'll go with none and we'll go 1, close this, and then we'll go with this one and go none and select number 2, and then close it again, select this one, go none and select number 3, okay, and then choose our thingy one and our OBXD and select number 4. So now we've got our 4 channels being played here by this one riffer, and all we need to do now is populate some stuff in riffer. We can actually close this, make sure our volumes are kind of turned down for now, just in case any of them are too loud. We can open riffer, we'll leave it on C minor, and what we'll do is select all. Actually no, I'm going to generate one for this, I'm going to generate a different one for this, generate a different one for that, and generate a different one for channel 4. And for channel 4 I'll have like a quarter, and then R3 we can have an 8th, and then we can leave that on the 16th, and maybe on the first one we well, we leave that on this one on the 16th. And now what's happening now is riffer's 4 MIDI channels are now playing those 4 instruments, and that was pretty straightforward to set up in the Matrix. Really simple. You just make sure that you tap your little MIDI routing control down the bottom there, and then that way you'll be able to route your MIDI through riffer. And then if you want, if you're not happy, you can go in and start messing with the sound. So it's quite nice. And at this point, if you wanted to start adding some effects to some of these, that's really easy. You don't need to kind of move anything around on here. All you need to do is add an effect here. So for instance, if it was I don't know, maybe a black hole, for instance, connects wherever you want this black hole. You could put it on all of them. So if we make sure our volume again is down, if we wanted it to go to the sunriser, all you need to do is do your black hole, and there's your sunriser there. So you hit this. Let's make sure that that's turned down a little bit as well, and then so if you go to your mixer, that's your sunriser being routed through. But if you wanted it also, let's go back to the mixer again. You could route the same effect, exactly the same effect, through, say, and it acts like a send effect. You might want different effects for these. You might want excuse me, a delay for this one. So we could add another effect, and anything that's we can add a bleed delay, and we'll just have it connect. And then we'll send our bleed delay here to well, it's already routed it for us. So I want to watch the level there and the level of this. So these are your output levels, sort of thing, and these are your main levels, and they're going to the main output, and these are the outputs here and where it's going through. So now this is affecting the tal. Switch the other outputs back on. Now, for instance, like I was saying, we could route black hole to OBXD, and the bleed delay, both of them. Now something that's crashed. Let's just change the sound. We had a hung note. I should have used that actually, but well, that's quite cool. Yeah, it's panic here. And with the likes of Noir, they'll just kind of run on their own. You can apply effects to them if you want to. That's absolutely cool beans. You can do whatever you like. But we can go in and choose a preset for Noir, maybe one of the factory patches. Maybe the crushed kick is quite nice. I like that'll give us some kind of a backbeat going on. So I want to show you something else as well in a sec before we go. So we got. Okay, so that's cool. Now, the other cool thing about apeMatrix, which makes it kind of unique, is if I turn all of these off apart from the kick, so you're just hearing the kick. In apeMatrix, if we, sorry. If we look at this VCO frequency, that's going to be a noticeable effect. The cool thing about apeMatrix is the modulation. The modulation is made super simple for you. All you need to do in every single module, like AUV3 effect, you will see this little icon here, and all you need to do is tap on that icon, and this will show you everything that is available to be modulated inside of the app that you're working with. So for instance, VCA frequency, so VCO frequency 1, and that's fine. VCO frequency, tap that, and we'll tap this little button here, and you'll see it starts moving straight away. And the speed, that's the speed, and this is the range. So it makes life very easy. And then there's the different shapes. Obviously sounds really nice, but this happens for every single instrument, like this. So now now I can modulate anything else as well. It doesn't really matter. You can do what you want, you know. You just go in here and choose another thing. But let's say, for instance, that was a bit too quick. Let's go in and go in here again. And let's something else has crashed. Look. So there you go. There is a very basic introduction to apeMatrix. The thing is, the more you use it, the better you get at it. I don't use it very often, but I just thought it'd be nice to, you know, give it a spin. Take it out for the spin. You know, when you take it out for the spin, and show you guys some of the cool stuff you can do. I mean, I admit it's not for everybody. No, you know, nobody likes everything. But I think it's quite interesting, the things you can do. I think it's quite simple. When you get your head around how it works, I think it's not so bad. I think it can be like, it can be awkward if you don't like know the kind of basic stuff. This is the one we started with. So if you don't like, if you're not like familiar with how it works initially, when you first look at it, it's like, whoa, what's going on here? You know, there's loads. That's my MIDI keyboard playing this page. And this is just set up exactly the same way as the other sessions that I kind of like the tutorial part of it. But yeah, it's nice. It does all sorts of other stuff as well, of course. You know, the deeper you dig, the more you're gonna get out of it. But yeah, there you go. There is a quick look at apeMatrix, but very, very basic stuff, just how you route things in. And although it looks a little bit confusing at first, once you've done it a couple of times, it's kind of obvious, because you're just looking at a grid, and you can actually see the connections on the grid of where's what's going where. And while it might look like a load of dots when you first see it, if you looked at how I did it, you'll go, oh, right, okay, it's not like it's not that bad. Okay, guys, thank you very, very much for watching. I will see you tomorrow with some of the stuff. And yeah, brilliant, cool beans. I'm gonna play you out with this track, and yeah, let you say ta-ra to each other for a few minutes, and I will see you later. Ta-da.